And there are two pals of hers here who would like to talk about her as well, Chris Holt and Keen Curtis. Come here. Come over here. Now, you're looking at Anne Sullivan's first boss and her last. And I get to stand in the middle because I'm now a producer who's currently presenting him on Broadway, and so I feel doubly lucky. Now before, I want to do one thing from our, there's a paycheck. Yeah, you'll get it later. This is a telegram from Arthur Lawrence. And it says, Anne worked with Arthur, Gypsy originally, Gypsy with Angela Lansbury, which we did together. So, I mean, you know, Arthur knows her. Annie. Start with the following. Get the props, get the cow, get the drag, get the prize, and get out while you still got your sanity. With admiration and love, Arthur. So that's one. Now, so Keen, you start, because you were first.
Well, I thought I was first for a long time, and I found out tonight maybe I wasn't her very first, but I was first big time. Okay. So I can't have my short, and he's tall. Okay. Once upon a time, I was a stage manager, believe it or not, during the 50s, and I was stage managing a play, The Firstborn, which we had done here in New York with Kathy Cornell and Anthony Quayle, and it was scheduled to go to Israel to celebrate one of their anniversaries. And we were there in June, and while we were there, I got a call from from Martha Graham, whom I had stage managed rather steadily for previous 5 or 6 years, saying, I'm coming over to Israel in September, will you stage manage me there? And I thought, yeah, gee, that'd be great. If I can stay in Europe, because I love traveling. I said, yes, I'll do that. Can I stay in Europe and not come back to New York for the collecting everything? And I sort of programmed all that ahead of time anyway. So they said yes. So I stayed in Europe and traveled and bought a scooter in Milan and went all over Italy and etc. But I would call back like every few weeks to find out who they were sending me in as an assistant stage manager. And Craig said, oh, don't worry, we'll get somebody nice and good. And I said, I'm sure, I've heard that kind of remark before. And the next time I called, well, we haven't found anybody yet, but somebody will turn up. I thought, turn up. And finally, about 3 weeks before they would come, I said, have you got anybody? He said, yes, we've got a nice girl from Bryn Mawr or Smith, or actually Smith, I think it is, I never can remember. And I thought, oh, shit. Some debutante ditz who wants to come over and play games in the theater. You know, she's got money, she's got a connection, something. And she's going to be totally useless to me. Anyway, I went down to the airport when that company arrived. The company got off the plane, and out stepped this very attractive, black-haired girl in a nappy suit. Time goes by there. And I had a little more hair, too. So anyway, and we met, and I couldn't figure this girl out. But anyway, we went into the rehearsal, and she was very eager and learned fast. And so within 2 or 3 days, I had her running some of the numbers, not always successfully, but she was getting, what? No. She was very good and very eager and learned like the snap of a whip. And we became very good friends, and as we say, time goes on. And the illusion of the theater, which is what we all deal in, is totally unpredictable. As you know, Annie has gone on to receive this wonderful award, and I am now wearing dresses and heels. So you never know where anything is going to lead, but I applaud her.
So now you have to segue a few years later, a lot of years later, and I'm working off Broadway, and I wanted to work for Hal Prince in the worst way. And I wrote letters and a long time, and finally I got a call saying, "You want to go out with the National Company of Cabarets and assistant stage manager?" And I said, "Absolutely." "Okay, go to the Piccadilly Coffee Shop and meet a woman named Kathleen Ann Sullivan." So I go down and I think, okay, this is my interview. So we sit down and we have our coffee, and she looks at me and she says, "All right, now how are we going to work this out?" I thought, I'm interviewing for a job. And she just assumed that I had the job. And from that point on, so of course it worked out, and we went on the road with Moose Heading, and the three of us were on the road together for 20 months. And when I started out, except for a time in stock, I didn't know much. And in 20 months, I learned practically everything about stage management from two people, from Annie and from me. And a lot of it was rules and Fresnels and dressing rooms and makeup and all that. But most of it was how to deal with people. And this person, of all the people since then, and that was 20 years ago, I don't know how else to explain it, but this person has no bullshit in her. None. She's the most honest, real, straightforward, and we've never discussed this, and we'll never discuss it again. But I learned, cut the crap. Don't let the people get to you. Just go straight. Now, I'm not going to paint a lily-white picture of this person. I've seen this person kick a roadbox across the stage of the Fox Theater in St. Louis when she was in an Irish rage. There was one time when we were going to into Cleveland in a snowstorm, and Freddie Feller and Frank Owanski and a couple of others, all bigger than I am, are in this fight. And the show is not going to get up. So I start to go across to try to push them apart. And she stops me. She says, "I'll handle this." And she walks into the middle of these 3 or 4 big guys and bursts into tears. And it worked. It worked. It was a vulgar display. I can't use that. They'll say get lost. But she could, and she did. And it was great. Now, I've got some notes here because I waited 20 years for this opportunity. I'm not going to miss anything. Okay, so then we finished the 20 months, and one day she disappears and comes to New York, and we're in Philadelphia, and she comes back and she says, "All right, boys, we've been asked, the 3 of us, to do a show on Broadway called Indians. And it is Stacy Keach and Gene Franco's directing, and of course, we're musical people, and it's a strange thing. But we decide we'll do it. And so I said, "What do you want me to do?" She said, "You just take the script and you try to get the lines out of them." Well, there was a lot of actor stuff where they go off in a corner with the director and they talk about changing the lines and all that. And I'm with my script and I'm trying to get the lines down, and all of a sudden one day she comes over to me, she takes the script, closes it up, puts it on the desk and says, "Forget it. When we open, we'll write it down." Practical. Practical. One night in previews at the Brooks Atkinson Theater, she's standing in the wings calling the show, and 20 Indians in loincloths throw spears off the stage because Gene Franco has just restaged it. Spears. 20 spears are coming at her. The prop man ran. The carpenter ran. She stood there with the headset. So we said, well, she's brave. So we nicknamed her Mother Eagle. And to this day, when I get postcards from her in New Mexico, it's signed Mother Eagle. When we were on the road with La Cage, then we did Gypsy and La Cage and a lot of stuff. Anyway, she has a sign that she hangs just last year on the door of her stage manager's office, whatever town we booked it into, that says, when the company's gotten to her too much and she's had it, and the sign says, "The witch is out. Go away." It was the best thing she ever did because it kept everybody from getting at her. There's something to learn. But when the chips are down, and I'm going to tell tell you this story only because it's personal. We were in Wilmington back on Cabaret, and I was counting heads on the bus. And the bus stopped short, and I started to get thrown forward to go through the windshield. And somebody caught me, and I ripped my leg open, and it wouldn't stop bleeding. And she put me on the side of the stage for days, and it wouldn't stop. And I went to a doctor in Wilmington, and he said, "Oh, put a plastic bag on it." Well, it didn't work. And finally, she got on the phone and she called her father, who was a doctor. If you called Central Casting and asked Norman Rockwell to send you a doctor, this would be Dr. Sullivan. He was the most distinguished, great-looking doctor. So I came to New York and walked into his office, and he took a look at it and got some jar stuck down off of the shelf, and took a little cotton and put it on my leg, and the thing stopped. And the only reason I tell you this story is because when the chips are down, and I was real scared, the witch is not out. The witch was always in. And I'll always thank you for that, as a friend, and as my boss, and as your boss. But the most important part is your friendship. Thank you so much. Now, I have the pleasure of introducing Julie Hughes, the daughter of Del Hughes, and the wife of my very first boss, Norman Rothstein. Julie.